No-nonsense number facts provides a coherent progression from year 1 to year 6 for fluency with reasoning. There are resources around that look at fluency but don't always have reasoning, and they just tend to concentrate on memorisation, whereas this builds in reasoning so that children are all the time being asked to make connections, to notice things, to use what they know. And that's essential in mathematics. And the research shows that if you want to work on fluency, you need to work on it with reasoning. And fluency and reasoning are two of the aims of the national curriculum. So you're bringing those two aims together within this one resource. No-nonsense number facts includes using understanding of relationships between numbers, operations, to reason and make connections between what children do know and what they don't know. And time and again in the activities, we keep taking children back to things they know to build on this, to work on new things. And as you work through from year 1 to year 6, you're going back all the time to things that you know, but exploring them within new parts of the number system, new relationships between numbers, and building all the time on what you already know.
My question is this then, and this is what we need to be reflecting on, is no one went for a third. I was looking, and when this table were really forward in their thinking, because they did it for a half, and they went straight into, okay, we're going to do it for a quarter. They went and they tested it in the next one. No one chose a third. Why not, Molly?
Because if you think about it, like 5 20s going to 100, 10 10s going to 100, 2 50s going to 100, and 4 25s going to 100. But then there's not really a whole number that goes in that makes 3 go into 100. So straight away, you were thinking about that. You were thinking about factors straight away in your head. Even without knowing you were thinking about it, you were looking at ones that you knew you could work. That's excellent. Really well done.
The no-nonsense number facts activities focus on making connections within sessions, connections from one session to another, and then connections between one year group and another. And so it builds all the time. Understanding that's developed in year 1 is then still being built on in year 6. So an example of this is in year 1, there's a lot of focus on understanding individual numbers, understanding the number 8, that it can be 8 and 0, 7 and 1, 6 and 2. And then you're using that all the way through. In year 2, you're using that with 2-digit numbers. In year 3, with 3-digit numbers. In year 6, with decimals. So you're using the fact that you know 8 is 5 add 3 to be able to work out how to add 0.8 to 6.5. So all the time, those early facts are built up and then used as you extend through the number system. No-nonsense number facts focuses on fluency with reasoning, and one of the ways it does this is to really draw attention to structures within mathematics. So rather than children just doing things and finding answers, they're asked to attend to why the maths works, what's actually happening. And when children understand the why mathematics works, the structures within it, it's then much easier to make connections, to remember things, and to make use of the things that you do know. So that real focus on mathematical structures, and that comes in a lot of ways. It comes in through the use of different images. It comes in through the questions that are asked, and it keeps bringing children back to why does the maths work, rather than just what's the answer. And that's really key to fluency with reasoning.
Okay, so explain to me why half is 0.5.
Well, because half of 100 is 50%. I mean, it's 50. Yeah. And obviously you have to turn that into decimal.
Okay. So how have you worked out this then? Can you apply that same logic here? What should you do here?
Well, 1/3 is 20. I think it's because 25 times 4 is 100 though. Yeah.
So how would you work out a third? Thinking about how you worked out what a half is, how could you work out what a third is?
Oh, hang on. 1/4 is 25%.
So how are you going to work out 1/3?
Divide it by, I don't know.
Well, what do you need to divide it by? What did you divide this by? To find the half?
2.
Right.
2, yeah.
And what would you divide it by if it was a quarter? 4. So what do you need to divide it by?
3.
See if you can do it. Yeah, good stuff. Well done.
We've written no-nonsense number facts to address the elements of the curriculum that focus on number facts, and they come from understanding number and the number system, additive reasoning and multiplicative reasoning. Each year group has 6 blocks, and so they would be probably half-termly blocks that you might use. And we've written activities for 6 weeks in each block, but the idea is that teachers will use these flexibly. Each block is focused on a key understanding. So we've taken the curriculum that focuses on number facts for a year group, and we've looked at what are the key bits of understanding that is needed within each year as you work through the mathematics, focused the activities around these key understandings, and then approach each of those areas in different ways, using different images, starting from different places, different contexts, so that there's a whole variety. And so basically we're using variation within each of those blocks to allow children to explore understanding of a particular area of number facts in different ways, so they have that deep understanding. After year 1, each year group at the start of the year revisits the understanding from the previous year. So there's always that building on and rehearsing of the previous understanding before moving on and looking at the new year's content, and then that builds on the previous year. And each of the activities within the week is a short mathematical journey. They could be used as standalone, short sessions. Some schools are doing standalone sessions focused on fluency, and these would fit perfectly with that, sort of 15 minutes or slightly longer. Or they could be part of maths lessons. They could be used and expanded for a whole maths lesson, but they really focus on those key areas of fluency with reasoning coming from number and the number system, additive reasoning and multiplicative reasoning. The activities in No Nonsense Number Facts are short mathematical journeys, and they focus on making connections and what's become known now as intelligent practice, which is not just repeating the same thing over and over again, but looking at things in a variety of ways so that you understand it better. And we use a number of teaching strategies which reflect good teaching practice, but are also very much highlighted within Teaching for Mastery, which are things like expecting the children to explain, getting the children to repeat what the children have said, speaking together. Some of those things you'll see in Sam's lesson today. The expectation that children will be able to demonstrate their understanding. We use different images and the expectation children can draw throughout the resources as one way of demonstrating understanding.
We agree with that?
Yeah, we found
Okay. So what we'll do, let's try as a class, because this really helped last time, didn't it? Let's try saying it all together. Okay, so Casey, you say it one more time, everyone listens, and then we're going to try saying it all together. Go on, Casey.
I know 1/4 as a decimal is 0.25 because 1 whole divided by 4 equals 0.25 and 0.25 times by 4 equals 1 whole.
We on it?
Doesn't it equal 25?
Okay.
we did the exact same
It's
thing.
0.2. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Jasmine, well explained to Zoe, good girl. Okay, so we're going to do it all together. Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. So I know that 1/4
As a decimal is
0.25 because 1.
So throughout the activities, you have an expectation that children will be able to understand, not just do the mathematics, demonstrate their understanding in a variety of ways and make sense of how other children have thought about and explained the mathematics. We've written No Nonsense Number Facts in a way to try and help teachers understand the reason for each of the activities, to make it really clear what is the understanding that they're working on within each of the activities, within each unit of work, block of work. And as long as the teachers have that understanding, and they can see from the activities what is the intention of those activities, then there's that flexibility to do what's needed for the children. Each class is different, group of children, schools are different. So teachers need to use it in the way that's going to work for them, really. So whilst it is laid out with a week-by-week, half-termly blocks, and you could follow it in that way, what's really critical is that teachers make decisions themselves. The expectation in the materials is that the children are making decisions, and we would expect teachers equally to be making decisions about how they use the materials. So you might, for example, look at a 6-week block, and within that, identify that 2 of those weeks are really, really critical for what your children need to work on. And so you're going to use those 2 weeks. You might find that some of the activities from one session in one of the weeks you want to repeat. You might change the context, you might change the numbers, but you might repeat that activity 2 or 3 times. You might decide that when you're running one of the sessions, that actually you've uncovered a misconception, which means that you need to adapt that session the next day, but stay with that bit of mathematics. So that flexibility and using it to work for your children, I think is really critical, but that's critical using any resource. But all the mathematics is there that the teachers may want to select from, and a suggested progression and a suggested route through exists within the materials.
Erin, explain to me the issues you had with this.
I had issues because 0.33 recurring is different, because loads of people will just go 0. Oh, it's recurring, I'll just do the first 2 decimals, which means you don't get the correct answer. Whereas if you did do the recurring, it would eventually equal 100, but you've got to have all those recurrings, otherwise it will be the wrong answer. I disagree with Erin, because if you keep doing recurring, it still won't equal 100.
It would be 102 because it's an extra 3 onto 99.
Yeah.
So
So it'll be more than a whole.
I disagree with
that's a massive misconception to get into now, but that's lovely. I like that. We've got the next week of I Wonders planned, which is lovely now.
To support teachers with using the resource flexibly, the materials are all in the book, but they're also on a USB stick. So teachers can then make decisions, change bits about the activities and adapt them as needed. And all the resources that are used that are very particular, we use things like target boards, number cards, bingo cards. Those are all in the resources. They're in the paper version, but they're also on the USB stick, so you can print out larger ones and use them sort of digitally as well. So everything's there to support teachers with using the materials flexibly. To get the best out of no-nonsense number facts, teachers need to understand that the expectation for the children is that they explain their understanding, their thinking about mathematics, that they represent their mathematics in different ways, that they interpret and create context for their mathematics, and that they link this to symbolic representations, and that all of those elements are important. And one of the things that we've really tried to be explicit about in the resources is all of those elements are there, and that those elements need to be linked. And to get the best out of it for the children and to really support their fluency, they need to be working on all of those elements and linking them together.